Just real excited, to be honest with you. We're super excited to get the season started. I'm personally very excited just to see a lot of kids play, some returners, and see how much they improve. Some kids that haven't played in the past that have been in our program, that this is going to be their first opportunity to go out there and play football for Miami. And then obviously some of the younger kids too that either redshirted a year ago or weren't even on campus a year ago. And I think we have huge increase in athleticism, team speed. I think we have huge increase in length. I think we're longer at almost every position on the field. I think our strength is coming. I still think that's a team weakness of ours, is just strength overall, weight room, pushing weights, and we're coming. We had a great offseason. But we're still not at the level we want to be able to push people around like we'd like to be able to push people around. But I just think we have way more playmaking ability, and it should be a lot of fun. I'm not real nervous. I know this is a very important game for us. I know it's to get off the season a fast start is important for every program, but particularly us from where we've been the last few years. Getting off to a fast start would really help our kids' confidence, because I still think we're a pretty fragile team when it comes to our own psyches. But I'm long term, I feel great about where we've come in a year, and that we're going to keep heading in the right direction. So I'm just kind of excited to watch these kids go play.
So there's a lot of young guys this year who will have to step up. Who do you see making an impact from day one?
I think there's some new faces, young and old. If we start on defense, I think there's some key guys in our defense. If you look at who's going to run out there, Bucci Okafor is going to start at field safety. He's been in our program for a few years, and I don't think anybody's ever called his name because he hasn't got on the field much. He stood next to me most of the time last year, but he's going to get his first collegiate start. TJ Williams is going to be lined up right in front of him as our field nickel, and another kid that has been here a while but has never played, but has earned his way onto the field with his spring and fall and summer work. Paul Moses is a true sophomore who played some running back a year ago for us, but we moved him to will linebacker, and he's going to get his first opportunity, not to play at Miami, but he's going to be his first time really playing and starting. So there's three key members of our defense. It's awesome to have Bryson Burris back, because he was a starter, then we missed him last year, and he's played some great football in fall camp. So there's a number of, and then there's a number of young kids on our two deep. Offensively, we've been a little beat up on the O-line, so it's been a revolving door. We've been joking, and it's not really been funny, but whoever shows up at guard plays with the ones, and we've had a revolving door at right and left guard due to injuries. So there's going to be some young guys that get an opportunity to play there, whether it's Zach Covey, whether it's Zach Swartz, whether it's Jimmy Rauscher moving over from defense, whether it's Sam McCullum, a true freshman, which I wasn't thinking he would be in the mix, but he's definitely in the mix and doing some great things. Really excited about our quarterbacks. Obviously, Coombs old, been here. This is his 5th year. Has played very little football here, but has earned the right to get on the field and do some things for us, and I'm excited to watch him play in that role. And then obviously having a redshirt freshman in Gus and a true freshman Billy, that I think all three will play, and excited to see what the quarterback position is. Probably the most nerve-wracking for me, just because you lose Andrew Hendrickson. You know, a lot of our plays went through number 12 a year ago, so without number 12 out there whipping the ball around, you're cautiously optimistic that somebody can, maybe not make as many plays as Andrew, but put our offense in position to make plays like Andrew did a year ago.
So a week of practices stand between now and the season opener. What are some things you're looking to improve before Saturday?
We're really starting to focus in on Presbyterian. We started late last week in their schemes and what they do on offense and defense and special teams, so that will be the primary focus, to get off the mode. We've practiced against each other for about 40 straight practices. If you go back to spring ball, and you get pretty accustomed to what our offense and defense does, now you got to flip your gears and get ready for them. The second thing is just to get our troops as fresh as possible, get our weights back to where they need to be, get our strength back to where it needs to be, and get our legs back to where it was in the summer. We want to feel like we're just entering fall camp, not coming out of fall camp. So we've been very mindful of that throughout camp, but we've been really mindful the last 14 days. So, and then trying to keep them as focused on the task at hand as possible, and thinking about their assignments and thinking about how to be 1/11th of our offense and defense, and not just going crazy because it's the opening game and I haven't really played before.
You mentioned getting ready for Presbyterian and their schemes. Not many people know about them. What do they run? What kind of team are they?
They've been a 4-3 quarters team on defense, and they've got a ton of starters coming back on defense, and they played very, very good defense a year ago. So could there be some changes, or could be not based on returning as many guys they did and playing as good? You'd expect to see a lot of what we saw on tape a year ago from a very veteran group that didn't give up a lot of points and held a lot of offenses down. So there will be a challenge for our offense. For our defense, their offense, tons of formations, tons of shifts, tons of trades, tons of motions, tons of movement before the snap, and then tons of movement on the snap with there's guys crossing behind the offensive line all the time. So they create a lot of situations offensively. I love what they do from a run game standpoint because it's a lot of stuff that we've tried to do through the years by creating advantages through formations and creating advantages through movements. And they do as good a job with that as probably anybody I've seen. They've got tons of different run schemes, so it's also almost impossible to rep all the different stuff that they do on offense. So we just have to be really solid of formationally and movement-wise and know where we fit in our defense, run and pass, and not give up edges because they do a good job of getting edges with their jet sweeps and outflanking you, and then being really sound inside. They get a lot of nice runs based on people getting out of their fits because they're moving so many guys around and changing your fits after the snap that you have to be able to read your key and go where your key tells you to go. So it's a very sophisticated run-oriented offense, and then they use the play action. Like any team that likes to run it, they use play action off of it very effectively. They have less returning starters on offense, and so there's less to go on as far as who we're going to be going against. I know there's 3 quarterbacks in the mix there too. Maybe they're going to play multiple guys also. So we little more unknown over there, but we know structurally they cause some issues for us.
Are they like anybody Miami fans have seen before?
They're similar to Northern Illinois from a structure standpoint. Not exactly, but using a variety of formations and unbalance and strength in the boundary and tons of motion, very similar how Northern Illinois creates a lot of edges and advantages for their kids. And if you're not real sharp at reading your keys, they get a lot of guys out in space, and it's very difficult to stop. So, and a lot of teams are going to these jet motions and these zoom motions that they run. So it's not unfamiliar. It's actually pretty good for our defense moving forward because we're going to continue to probably see variations of that for the rest of the year.
Kent Kern coming back as a senior this year. How important is he going to be as a senior presence there in the middle of the defense? Yeah,
Kent's obviously the quarterback of our defense. He's also the emotional and vocal leader of our defense. He's one of the toughest, hardest hitting guys on our defense. So he's a key in having him healthy, which I think is the healthiest he's been in a while, and keeping him healthy, which may be the bigger chore for him, but keeping him healthy throughout the year will be a big key to how good and how much our defense can improve.
And you talk about Moses moving over to the linebacker position. How does his speed look as a linebacker coming over from the running back position?
Yeah, he's fast. So he's real fast. He closes a lot of space in a hurry. So it's good when he's going in the right direction. He closes a lot of space very quickly. Not as good when he's going in the wrong direction because he can get really out of position really fast. So it's feast or famine with the young kid, but Paul's doing a great job mentally, and he's a very dynamic, twitchy athlete that can get from point A to point B right now, and I think you'll see that on Saturday.
Coach, tell me about the other skill positions on the offensive side of the ball. You look very, very deep at the wide receiver core, and you've got some guys at running back that should really help out this team.
Yeah, and the receiving core should be a strength of ours. Obviously, Rakeem Williams coming off a really strong sophomore season, made a lot of big plays for us throughout the year. And then Jared Murphy being our number 2 receiver a year ago, behind Frazier, making tons of catches and plays for us and even running the ball for us at time. Then Fred McRae, his progression during last year from just having a small part to really increasing a workload for him as the season went on, not only returning but also on offense. And I think him and Murph will be tough for people to defend in the slot. And then obviously Sam Martin, as a true freshman a year ago, did lots of good things as a true freshman and made a lot of catches and did a lot of big things. Then you're adding Chris Hudson to that mix, who redshirted a year ago, and he's a big physical receiver that's a great target for young quarterbacks or inexperienced quarterbacks to throw to. And then you had the experience with Sam Shizzo and Avante Jenkins, who have been around here a long time and are very dependable and can do a lot of the jobs that a lot of the receivers don't like to do, and they understand the big picture, and they understand our offense very well. So we have a very deep receiving core. Running back's different when you line up and you only have one running back in your program that's ever stepped on a college football field. It's a little scary. 5 of your top 6 running backs are either redshirted freshmen or true freshmen. But we're really excited about the ability level of that group. And obviously Spencer McKinnis coming back, and much like Coomer, he's kind of running the show back there because Spencer's played a bunch of football for us a year ago and does a lot of different things well. He can block, he can run, he can catch, he's smart, he can make adjustments on the fly. He's very tough. He's improved his speed in the offseason tremendously, so we're excited about the growth in Spencer. And then the young kids, obviously Alonzo Smith, 225-pound tailback. He gives us a bigger, more physical presence at tailback. You counter with Kenny Young, who's a little smaller in stature, although Kenny is strong, but much faster. 2 redshirt freshmen. Then you got a couple of true freshmen that I think are going to play in Leonard Ross, who's been terrific in fall camp, and Maurice Thomas, a local kid from Talawanda High School, has also done a bunch of things. So we're kind of coming in with 5 tailbacks, and we'll kind of see how it plays out.
So you were talking about Presbyterian's offense. They returned 4 starters. Really only one with significant playing time last year. That's against your defense, who returns 8 starters. Do you feel that the difference in level of experience gives you an advantage?
You would hope. You would hope on Saturday it does. And the biggest thing for us defensively is obviously we're working very hard to really try to get into all the things they did a year ago. But when you have that many new faces on offense, from their standpoint, and it's the first game, you got to be cautious that you don't ingrain in your kids' head so much that this is exactly what you can get. Week 8, you kind of know what you're getting. You've seen a team for 7 straight weeks. They're probably not going to totally change. Where we have to expect the unexpected in any opener, but particularly when you see so many new faces. We don't know their personnel. They might have some dynamic players that they use in a completely different way through the ground or through the passing because they want to take advantage of that kid's strengths, and they didn't have that kid a year ago out there playing. So we have to really be ready in the first quarter. I'm more confident that our offense will get the things they see on tape from Presbyterian's defense because they got a lot of stars back and they were very successful and very sound what they do. When you have that many new kids, you tend to sometimes tailor things to all your new talent, and we got to be ready for them to throw a bunch of stuff at us that maybe we haven't seen.
Everybody good? Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.